Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This video is all about the business side of photography. Today I'll show you the techniques I use to sell both physical products like prints, wall art, postcards, and digital product like image licensing. We'll talk about creating landscape images that sell, or why you should or shouldn't be printing your own work. I'll end up this video by answering two popular questions among photographers. The first one, is it possible to make a living by doing landscape photography? And the second one will be, how much should we charge for our work? Now just remember that these are guidelines that work for me, and you should always experiment with your own style. My name is Aucoin, and I'm a professional landscape photographer living in Eastern Canada. I make videos where I share photography tips with you or show you how I capture landscape photograph. Support my channel by leaving a comment. So without waiting any longer, let's jump into the video. Okay, so here's an example of my process for selling wall art to a local restaurant owner who had seen my work on Instagram and wanted to hang some prints in his new establishment. So my first step here is to go to the location and see for myself where I can put the images on the walls. Then I always take photo of the walls to be able to design a good looking proof for the client. I'll show you how to build that proof in a moment. When I'm not able to go to the location, I ask the client for pictures of their walls with some measurement to help me to create the proof. Also bear in mind that most of the time, I think we should always be proactive and never wait for that phone call to come. For businesses like restaurants, I think it's always a good idea to offer products like postcards because it's a great way to share your photograph and it's a good exposure for your brand. Just don't expect to make a lot of money out of postcards. Now let's move on to the next step. Okay, so now that I have all the information I need, it's time to create some basic Photoshop montage. First, I open the image in Photoshop and adjust the scale. In this case, I knew that the ceiling height was 96 inches, so I replaced the value accordingly. This is an important step for me because I design everything with the expectation that whatever the client chooses will look exactly like the proof. It's now time to design the layout and select images that sell well and those previously discussed with the client. Here's a side note on images that sell well. First, when I get out to take landscape photograph, I always keep in mind that images that showcase the area usually sell for business or clients. Forests, bridges, and buildings are a great example of that. People have an emotional connection with those images because they know the location where they were taken. Not to mention that drone shots are also great sellers because they offer another perspective and they show the bigger picture. Okay, now let's get back to the proof design. I always want to show no more than 3 options because I know from experience that a confused clients don't buy. Here, my goal is to help them make an easy decision. So I prepared 3 versions of the montage in 3 different sizes and labeled the proof medium, large, and X large. Even though I offer many finishes such as fine art prints and canvases, I know that metal prints are more durable, easy to clean, and give my image a great look. So most of the time, that's the option I choose. Once I'm confident that the proof looks great, I send a gallery link to the client. At this point, I don't attach the quote to the email so that the client can see 3 options objectively and without being distracted by the price. Okay, so while I wait for my client's decision, I'm bringing you in my workshop to build a small stand for the postcard I'll put in the restaurant. Of course, this is entirely optional and I only do this because I'm a do-it-yourself kind of guy and I enjoy woodworking. This brings me to another topic, printing and framing your own work. Should you do it? Well, having previously printed and framed my own work, I have a question for those considering doing it. If a client orders a print today, can you print, frame, pack, and ship within a week? If the answer is no, you should probably do what I do now and work with a professional lab. That in order to focus on what you really love to do, which is probably going out and doing landscape photography. I still use my Canon printer from time to time to print 17 by 22s because I love to be able to see and feel fine art prints right after the photo shoot. It also helps me better understand my photographs compared to looking at a 5K backlit monitor, but that's my preference. So everything else is printed by my lab and most of the time drop ship directly to the clients. That way I'm able to save a lot of time on packaging and shipping and I can offer products like metal HD prints which I wouldn't be able to offer otherwise. Okay, we'll get back in the restaurant in a minute, but first let's talk about image licensing as another way to make money from landscape photography. This time I received an email from the manager of an hotel chain in my hometown. They required a variety of photographs to be displayed in all the hotel rooms. And I used the same sale technique as the restaurant to make the proofs. except here they already had a lab working for them. So instead of charging for physical prints, I quoted for a print usage license based on the total purchase value. Let me explain in a moment. First, in order for me to feel comfortable leaving the printing process to another lab, I needed to see an actual piece before approving mass production. After that was approved, I charged a base fee for the number of different images they required, plus a sliding scale pricing model based on the total purchase value from their lab. If you want more information about sliding scale, I included a link in the description to a good article. But in general, the more money the client spent with his printing provider, the more money I make. I believe this is the most effective and fair approach to go. I also included low-resolution digital file with my logo so that they could display the images on their TV lobby. It added value for them, and it's a great way for me to showcase my photograph to travelers and make more individual sales down the road. Alright, before answering the big question, please support my channel by either leaving a comment or watching another video after this one. So is it possible making a living doing landscape photography? My answer is definitely yes, because I'm an optimistic person, but it's not easy. Think about it. Why would someone buy any of your photographs anyways? I think if they know you and have an emotional connection with the image, is way easier than hoping for an online sale. Or if you're a good enough photographer and have a big YouTube following like Thomas Eaton or fellow Canadians like Simon d'Entremois or Gavin at Photo Tripper, just to name a few, I think it's possible to make money by selling smaller products like calendars and books to the online community you build. But that's not an easy route. Other than that, I think starting locally and selling large format prints and building your way up is the way to go. At least that's the way I approach it. As far as how much should we charge for our work, well, this one is a tough one. I believe it should be sufficient enough to invest in our education and help us grow as photographers. That's easier said than done, but that's the truth for me. I think if we take care of that, we're going to make a difference and help others experience through our photographs the beautiful, ever-changing place of magic we live in. Thanks for watching.